I currently have almost $59,000 invested in one ETF. That ETF is QQQ. I originally put about $46,800 into this position, and today it's worth more than $58,000. But the number that surprised me isn't how much this one investment has actually made me. So in this video, I'm opening up the position QQQ. I'm showing you my exact cost basis, every dollar I've made, the dividends it's paid me, and what's actually inside QQQ, and whether I'm still going to continue buying it in the future. Before we get into it, as always, quick disclaimer. My name's Eric. I'm not a financial advisor, and this video is not financial advice. I'm simply just showing you one of my investments, some of my holdings, why I own it, how it's performed for me for the last year and a half, and how it fits into my own financial journey towards freedom and a $1 million investment portfolio. Now, your goals and risk tolerance could be completely different than mine, right? So invest at your own risk, and always do your own research. So let's start off with the basics of this, right? Because one thing I don't want this series to become is just like me flashing big numbers on the screen without actually explaining what I own and why I own it. Now, QQQ is the Invesco QQQ ETF, and it tracks the NASDAQ 100 index. That means you're getting exposure to 100 of the largest non-financial companies listed on the NASDAQ. It's not literally a technology ETF, but when you look underneath the hood of it, you can immediately understand why people associate QQQ so heavily with technology and growth. That's what it's known for, and we'll dig a little bit deeper into that in a few minutes. The expense ratio on QQQ is currently 0.18%. In plain English, that's roughly $18 per year for every $10,000 invested, although the actual fund expenses are reflected in the fund itself rather than you receiving a bill. There are absolutely cheaper index ETFs available, right? QQQ isn't the fund that I own because I'm trying to find the absolute lowest expenses ratio possible. I own it because I specifically want this NASDAQ 100 exposure as part of my growth allocation. QQQ honestly is one of my favorite ETFs. When you look at what's actually inside the ETF, you can understand the attraction and why people like it so much, besides just me. Based on the holdings information I'm looking at, the largest position is NVIDIA, which is about 8.05%, followed by Apple at 7.51%, Microsoft at 5.72%, Amazon at 4.84%, and Micron at 4.24%. And then, of course, you've got AMD, both classes of like Alphabet, Broadcom, and Meta rounding out like the top 10 for it. These top 10 positions alone represent about 46% of the ETF based on the holdings data that I'm looking at. So even though you're buying an ETF rather than 10 individual stocks, make no mistake about this. This is still a pretty concentrated bet on some of the largest growth and technology related companies in the entire US market. And that brings us to the part that I really wanted to make this video about. My own personal QQQ position. This is one of like my core holdings in my entire portfolio, and I buy it all the time. Right now, I own 80.38 shares of QQQ, and at the price shown in my portfolio of $732.07 per share, that position is worth $58,843. Think about that for a second. Almost $60,000 of my portfolio is sitting in this one ETF. And QQQ currently represents 18.12% of my entire overall portfolio. That's an important number because this isn't like a tiny position that I bought just so I could say that I own QQQ. This is one of the major building blocks of my portfolio. Almost one out of every $5 in this portfolio is currently represented by QQQ. Now let's get into what I actually paid for it. My total cost basis is $46,807, and my average cost per share is $582. So with QQQ sitting at around $732 on the screen I'm looking at, my current unrealized capital gain is a little over $12,000, or approximately 25.7%. But here's where the numbers get even more interesting. My tracking app, which I'm using Snowball, it shows my total profit from QQQ at $15,106. That total isn't just the current unrealized gain. I've also generated about $2,836 in realized profit from QQQ along the way, and I've received more than 230 dividends. So $230 in dividends. So, and I first started buying this in January of 2025, which is kind of like when my investing journey actually started. But when I look at this position as a whole, not just like what the shares are worth today, QQQ has already made me more than $15,000 in a year and a half. And that's the number I deliberately didn't put in the thumbnail. Because if you click this video wondering what roughly $47,000 into QQQ has done for me, well, that's the answer. So far, according to my portfolio tracker, more than $15,000 in total profit just from QQQ. Now, my IRR on the position is currently showing at around 26.5%. Again, that doesn't mean that I'm expecting 26% in gains every single year. Absolutely not. That's simply the return that my own cash flows and timing have produced to this point for QQQ, which I said is a year and a half since January of 2025. The earliest purchase that I'm showing on here actually is January 6th. So that's really when I started this portfolio was that week. And when I did that, I purchased a little over 16 shares for $9,321. Since then, I haven't treated this like a one and done investment. I've continued adding to it, which is how I've eventually built this position past 80 shares. And I actually like showing the purchase history because when you look at the chart, my buys weren't all at the perfect time, right? Like I bought low, I bought high, I bought in the middle. It was just whenever I had the money, I bought. Like, and that's what we talk about dollar cost averaging, right? Like some are higher, some are lower. There's buys before declines, there's buys after declines. Like that's real investing. Nobody just rings a bell and tells you, hey, Eric, today is the exact bottom. Put all your money in right now. That's never going to happen. You're making decisions with the information that you have at the time, right? And QQQ has definitely given investors plenty of opportunities to question those decisions. Now, just look at the 5-year chart for QQQ. From the period displayed beginning in 2021 through today, QQQ is showing roughly a 99% price increase. That looks incredible when you see like the beginning and the ending point. But look at the middle. There was a massive decline through 2022. There were periods where it basically felt like nothing was working, right? Then came the recovery through 2023 and 2024, another drop in 2025, and then another move higher after that. That's something that is really important to understand about QQQ, I'd say. People love to look at the returns after the recovery has already happened, right? And those are the numbers that they're going to spew out a lot of times on their videos. Holding it during the ugly part is completely different. And that needs to be shown more. And I like to talk about that stuff. The NASDAQ 100 has delivered strong long term results historically, but that growth has come with meaningful volatility. QQQ itself has existed since 1999. So its history includes like the dot-com bust, the financial crisis, COVID, and the 2022 like growth stock decline, and plenty of smaller corrections along the way. Invesco itself cautions that like unusually high returns aren't something that investors should assume will continue indefinitely. Would we all like that? Sure, of course, everybody would. And concentration is probably the biggest risk that I personally pay attention to now because I don't just own QQQ. I own other investments that also have exposure to Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and other large growth companies that are all in the QQQ basket. That's something that beginner investors like they can easily miss, and I did as well too. Owning 5 ETFs doesn't automatically mean that you're diversified in all 5 ETFs because some of them own basically the same companies, and you really need to look under the hood of each of those ETFs and figure out what they own. For me, QQQ is already 18% of this overall portfolio of around $330,000. So I'm very aware of how much additional growth and technology exposure that I'm stacking around it. Now, that doesn't mean that I think QQQ is bad. I think QQQ is great. Obviously, like I have over 80 shares of it. Like I have almost $60,000 into QQQ. It just means I'm not going to pretend an ETF can't be aggressive simply because it contains a lot of companies, right? And I love the companies that this ETF holds. Diversification isn't about how many like ticker symbols that you can fit on your brokerage screen. It's about what you can actually own underneath all of those ticker symbols. And like I have ETFs, but I also invest in individual stocks. And so layering those together, it can be tricky. Now, one area where QQQ is absolutely not exciting is dividend income. It's by no means exciting for that. My QQQ position currently shows around $243.90 in annual dividend income, which works out to a yield of only about 0.41%. My next projected payment is around $55.78. So nobody should look at QQQ and think like this is my income strategy. This is going to replace my paycheck, because it's not. I have a completely separate dividend focused portfolio for just that purpose. QQQ has a completely different job for me. And that job is what I always talk about for it. That job for QQQ is growth, growth, growth. And I'm willing to accept a very low dividend yield here because I'm not asking QQQ to produce income for me today. I'm asking it to participate in the growth of many of the companies that I believe can continue playing major roles in the US economy over the long run. Now, that distinction matters, and it matters because every investment in my portfolio doesn't need to perform like the exact same job, right? Like every ETF or every stock, it has its own job, and it's something very specific. I don't need QQQ to act like my shares of SCHD, right? I don't need my dividend portfolio to act like QQQ. I don't need my real estate portfolio to act like either one of them at all. They're all different. They all serve for different purposes, right? Like different buckets, different holdings, different jobs. And that brings me to one question that people will probably, I'll say, care about the most. Am I going to keep buying QQQ? Yes, but with some context. QQQ is already about 18% of my portfolio. That's a substantial position. I don't feel any need to aggressively force that percentage higher simply because the historical performance looks great. I'm happy continuing to own it, and I'm always going to continue to own it. But I'm also comfortable continuing to add it as like part of my overall portfolio strategy, but not focusing everything into it. I'm also paying attention to the size of the position and the overlap with my growth holdings as well too. Like I'm really starting to look at those things now that my portfolio is over $300,000. This stuff is starting to matter. I don't want to wake up one day and realize that what looked like 5 different investments was really one giant technology bet wearing like 5 different ticker symbols because I didn't pay attention to what each of them actually held. My current QQQ position is already doing exactly what I wanted it to do. I contributed around $46,800. It's currently worth about $58,800. I've generated more than $15,000 in total profit when I include capital gains, realized gains, and dividends. I own just over 80 shares of QQQ, and it's now almost 1/5 or almost 20% of my entire portfolio. So I'm not looking at this position thinking I need to completely reinvent it, right? For me, I'm looking at it as, I'll say, one of the engines that's helping drive my own road to $1 million invested, and is a very important engine. And that's actually why I want to start doing more videos like this, because I've showed you guys like here's my overall portfolio, here's my cost, here's like some of my positions I have, but I don't go into specifics about each position. Like instead of every portfolio video just being like, hey, here's my total balance for the month, I want to start opening up the portfolio one investment at a time, and do this with all of my portfolios and all my brokerage accounts I have. So today was QQQ. Next we could look at like VTI, we could look at SMH, we could look on the international side for VXUS, and then we could look at dividend holdings like SCHD or JPI or stuff like that. Like, and over time you'll be able to see exactly what's inside this portfolio, what every position has earned, what I've lost money on, and what I keep buying, and what I eventually decide to change as I like rebalance and reallocate my own portfolio. If there's a specific investment in my portfolio that you want me to break down next, just let me know. Put the ticker down in the comments. I read all my comments. I'll take a look at it. I'll show any position that I have, whether it's a big position or a small position. And if you want to follow the actual journey as I build this portfolio towards $1 million, consider subscribing to my channel. I would appreciate it. I'll keep showing the real numbers all the way till we reach $1 million.